Welcome to an episode of Jazz Sports Talk, and welcome to the continuation of the 2024-25 college football season. We have now moved on to the Final Four phase of the college football playoff. We're now down to the Orange and Cotton Bowl, the last 4 teams standing. All the remaining bowl games have been completed. Looking past at the other bowl games, 26 and 17 overall. There were definitely a few surprises. If you look at the college football playoff, no conference champion is left standing. They've all been eliminated. I mean, winning the conference is nice, it seems like this year, but it doesn't mean squat when it comes to the playoff. There are other few surprises out there. I mean, I call for upsets in the first round with Clemson over Texas and Tennessee over Ohio State. I must have been smoking something. But who saw Ohio State getting revenge against Oregon? Who saw Notre Dame dominate Georgia? I didn't. And I'm an Irish fan. Illinois winning against South Carolina. Michigan upsetting Alabama. Navy beating Oklahoma. Just going down the list of some of the games that I picked that I didn't see. I called for Louisiana to upset TCU. Didn't happen. We saw Marshall had to remove themselves from the bowls because all their players left because the coach wasn't rehired. And he left, so the players left, which means they had no team to field. And so they had to bow out of the bowl game, which gave a 5-7 team a bowl game. And they gave Army some headache for a while, but in the end, Army was too much. For the SCS National Championship game was just finished, I picked the undefeated Montana State. They ended up failed in their comeback against North Dakota State. North Dakota State won their 10th FCS title and still haven't made the jump up. So you throw in the 3 extra games for the past 3 weeks, I was 27 and 19 overall. Now we deal with the 2 bowl games we got coming up on the January 9th and 10th. Now note, the SEC commissioner before the start of the Sugar Bowl wanted to switch the date of the Orange and Cotton so that way the winner of the Orange got an extra day off. Or the winner of the Sugar got an extra day off, which was kind of beneficial for Notre Dame in the end. And NCAA went, no, we're not changing that because everything's already set in stone. I mean, we can delay a game a day if we have to, but we're not going to switch dates because that's just too many other things you have to coordinate with, like hotel rooms and whatnot. Which kind of falls the same line with your moving a game. I think it was like 18 hours. But now it's extenuation circumstances, teams and people and the fans and the players and the coaching staff and all the press and all that were already in place already in New Orleans. I was just extending the stay. Yeah, that means the hotels have to come up with finagling to make things kind of work, but that's things that they can do. No, because of just a vile act in New Orleans. Let's look at the 4 teams left, shall we? We have Penn State, who happens to be like the third wheel in the Big Ten. Doesn't matter who's running the top 2 teams up there. Is it Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon? Penn State's always the third wheel. They always can't seem to find ways to get over the hump. I mean, they had a game against Ohio State, didn't do very well. But here they are. Now, some say they've had the easiest road to the Final Four. They had a home game against SMU, which I think everyone knew Penn State was going to outmuscle them. I was just surprised SMU didn't make more of an effort to come back in the end. Then they had the Fiesta Bowl game against Boise State, and Boise State, this is the bowl game they seem to love to play in. They always seem to do well. And Genty could not get anything going. Yeah, Penn State just stifled Boise State's offense, and Boise State's defense was just too much. And they rolled over Boise State. So they got these two huge victories under their belts against ranked teams. Some will say not deserving to be there. Others say you played into that position, you came up short. That's how I look at it. They look at Notre Dame, they struggle against Indiana, but Indiana's a quality team. They struggle against Georgia, to a point. They stifled Georgia's offense. They could not do anything right. Georgia's defense tried to stop Notre Dame's offense, but they were still able to get there. Notre Dame actually ended up dominating Georgia and winning. Now, Notre Dame's wins don't look as impressive as SMU's wins if you look at the score. But if you look at opponents, I think Notre Dame's opponents are slightly better than Penn State's. This is going to be definitely a marquee matchup between these two. Freeman and Franklin are two pretty good coaches. They find ways to get their team going. Leonard has really thrived in his role he has right now in Notre Dame. Yeah, at the beginning of the season, he looked terrible. Now you look what he does now. He's a dual threat running quarterback because he has the most rushing touchdown of any Notre Dame quarterback. And you still have Love in the backfield as well, where he can also carry the load. So it's a dual running attack that Penn State's defense has to try to stop, and that's going to be a huge factor for them. Are they able to stop this type of attack? Now, Alar is a very good quarterback in his own right for Penn. And Notre Dame has had issues in corralling very good quarterbacks, but their secondary does also come up with these very elaborate interceptions as well. So they're able to kind of counterbalance that. To kind of allow them to make some good passes, good drives. A lot of times they do score. Sometimes they get to the end zone, and that defense just locks down and takes over. So it's really kind of a revolving door to figure out which side of this coin is going to land properly. I really do think this is a coin flip between these two. Both these guys are coming in riding extremely high. And I think Notre Dame now has been on a 12-game winning streak. Let's just throw that one out there. Since that Northern Illinois loss, Notre Dame has been a different team. They've just been focusing on what they can control. Fine-tuning everything. Sometimes against weaker opponents, yes. But they're fine-tuning everything. They got everything going. And it's paid off at the right time in the playoffs. Against two very stout teams that had very good years. And Georgia being one of the more dominant teams in recent years in the NCAA football. And Penn State's always playing that, always in that friend zone, that third wheel in the Big Ten. But their own right still have very good years. Is this the year Penn State finally gets over the hump? Is this the year Notre Dame gets back to a championship game, try to get that title that's eluded them for so long, since '88? Analytically, Notre Dame's at 59%. They also have a 1.5-point spread advantage. As much as I've pushed back on Notre Dame this postseason, I did have a win against Indiana, but I said it was going to be close against Indiana. I didn't think they had a shot against Georgia, and they ended up beating Georgia. Maybe I'm starting to believe. This is the year of the Irish, I think. This could be the time frame where they finally get over that hump. There's already been talks of Freeman leaving Notre Dame. He's already stated he's pretty much staying put. And I kind of like the Irish to win this game. I do think this will be a very close contest. There's no big question about that. Both defenses will be coming up to lock down those offenses. And good luck. Because once any one of these offenses gets rolling, it's hard to really stop them. But this defense is going to be playing a huge factor in this game. Yeah, I think Notre Dame's going to be slightly better, be able to edge out Penn State in this scenario and make their way to Hotlanta for a championship game. Then we're going to head over to Arlington for the other side of the coin. In the Cotton Bowl, we have Ohio State and Texas. Now, Texas had some very harrowing games these past two. I mean, their first-round matchup against Clemson. Clemson started out first with a touchdown and then had to hang on the wind. Arizona State had to go to double overtime. They had a hard time really kind of stopping Scalaboo for the entire game. And Scalaboo is just one of those bruising running backs. Larry Zonka, Mike Allstott, those type of Jerome Bettis possibly. Even those are the type of the running backs you think of that just have the power and just bulldoze their way through lines. This is what Scalaboo is. He's a one-off running back that doesn't get a lot of attention nowadays because you want these running backs are more elusive and catch balls out of the backfield. You know, it's you don't see many of those. You don't see like many times like Derrick Henry is. He's just a straight up and down runner, and try to tackle him with one person, you'll find yourself being stepped into the ground. That's a Scalaboo. They look at Ohio State, and they had dominated two games. I think they were both down on. Their defense has stepped up. The offense stepped up. Day's got this team rolling. Day's got his job safe now. I think Franklin, same thing at Penn State. Both these guys' coaching careers were maybe on the line. But I think they nixed all those talks. Because given the opportunity, they have risen to the top and have taken chances and have done that. Ohio State was all over Tennessee. I think maybe a little bit the weather played a factor in that game. Just a little. But that defense of Ohio State just stepped up. And then when we get Oregon in the rematch against the Ducks had no answer. The Ducks went back to the way they were in the beginning of the season. But this time they couldn't come from behind. So two teams looking really good. Now for Texas, I think there's more question marks I have for them, but they're a very gritty team. They find ways to win. Their defense is very good. They'll give Ohio State enough of a headache to kind of slow the roll. I don't expect Ohio State to score 40 points this game. Just don't see that happening. Howard's having a very good year. Ewers still not 100%. But even if you take him out of the equation, now you're throwing Arch Manning into the mix, who has scattered play time throughout the season. He's no pushover. He's no, someone you have to really, a freshman that you just push over like what Irish did against Georgia. But if you look at some of the past performances of Texas, it question marks do kind of creep up there. But that defense for Longhorns is going to be a huge factor in this game. So is the offense. Can the offense match the defense intensity? Can the defense hold the Ohio State's offense in check? And that's be another issue. Is Henderson have a better game than Wisner? I mean, that's going to be another thing. If Wisner can get going for the Longhorns, is going to set the pace for that offense that limit the time the Buckeyes offense has on the field. You could change the whole dynamic there. And, of course, being out there in Jared's world, they're going to have a huge home field advantage. Because just a measly 3 hours drive up from Austin, the Big D, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, for them to flood the area with the burnt orange and white. But analytically, it's almost down the middle, 51-49 in favor of Texas. Point spread has it, though, at -5 for Ohio State. Once again, a coin toss. I think this playoff it showcased why going to 12 made a lot of sense. There could be a push to move it to 16. I think you might want to slow roll a bit to kind of see how this plays out for a couple more seasons. But having 4 more teams in may not be that bad. I mean, that'll give Alabama and Miami fans happy. Then you'll have to fight over who's going 15 and 16. You know, which team should have got in, who should have got out. I mean, no matter what type of scenario you run, you're going to have that argument. But back to the point, I'm here for the Cotton Bowl between Ohio State and Texas. This is going to be a good game between these two. I do like Ohio State slightly more, but I'll take Texas for the points. So I do think it would be less than 5 between these two. Ohio State's not going to put up these gaudy numbers like they did these past couple bowl games of 41-plus points. Ain't going to happen. They'll probably get like 38, 35 points. But I think it's going to be a 38-35 victory overall. And I'm taking Ohio State to punch their ticket to Hotlanta on January 20th. There you go. Short, sweet video. I didn't harp on about all the other bowl games. That's just way too much to really kind of, dissect and go through. Kind of mention a few here and there that I got wrong. It happens. But overall, for the bowl games, I think I'm doing pretty well. My pick for the Final Four in the national championship, completely wrong. Wow. It's kind of like when I do March Madness, I have one region where it's I get like one win. And this is the region. It is terrible. But anyways, it's made this college football season very, very enjoyable. This college football playoff system looks to be legit. I think it should stay. I do think there should be some tweaks made to it. I do have other ideas how to kind of revamp this. And I'm still battling with myself how to get this out correctly and make it enjoyable, kind of make sense a bit. Sooner or later I get this out, maybe, between the semifinal championship game, maybe I'll finally get it out. I don't know, I've been selling it for months and still haven't done anything with it, but what can you do? Heck, let's throw a bit of realignment news. Northern Illinois now leaving the MAC once again and joining the Mountain West. So Northern Illinois is going to become Marshall. Twice in the MAC, twice leaving the MAC. But there you go. A little bit of news, a little bit of sidetrack going on there. And that's the Final Four, the semifinals for the college football playoff. 4 non-conference winning teams battling out. Who would have thunk? Certainly not this guy. But let me know down below what you think of the Final Four matchup. Are you surprised these 4 teams made it? Are you happy these 4 teams made it? Of the 4 remaining, who are you rooting for? Let's mix it up, comments below. The more we mix it up, the more algorithm really boosts this video out to get out to the masses. Everyone else can hear the ramblings of this crazy old man as he rants about college football and talks to the side of his mouth. Another thing to do to support this channel is to subscribe. A lot of you guys watch my work. I love you for doing it. Not many subscribe. Doesn't cost you a dime. Zero, nada, zilch. Very simple. You reach in, you open up, and you break out swipe the card, and put it right back in the wallet. You can just press that subscribe button. Click that bell icon, and turn on notification. Let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.